recording the stories, looking at the images, and they've come up with this fantastic 10-minute light and sound show that captures this history that starts with the Biripi people and all the way through to current day. So it's a permanent installation. So after the bicentenary period, it will be shown every evening on the facade of the courthouse. So the idea being, well, you know, when you come to Port Macquarie, you've got to get down and check out Waikuto. Like, this is something really cool and unique. So what we've done is we've created a nightly program. So Waikuto launches on Saturday the 10th. That's the big day for us. The Governor of New South Wales is coming to actually launch that, which is we're very happy about. And we have created just a nightly program between 6 and 9, where you can come. It's on a continuous loop, that Waikuto site, so the screen just continuously loops around. We've sort of made sure that there's a nice big COVID-safe viewing space for people to come and look at it. And then we're encouraging everybody to then have a little bit of a wander. So the glass house is open, which is where the community art exhibition is, where a lot of you are sort of helping out to do. There's also a Port Macquarie 200, which is another bicentenary focus exhibition in there, and the saltwater, freshwater exhibition as well. So the glass house will be open for those times. The Port Macquarie Museum's open. It's free for everybody to go to. The actual courthouse will be open, and we have another exhibition in there called Governing Change, which is by a local artist who's done paintings of the first 6 governors, I think it is, 4 or 5 governors of New South Wales, and another picture of Uncle Bill, and Little Shack are doing some very COVID-safe, small sort of busker music performances. So it's just, the idea is if you're bringing the family down to have a look at Waikuto, or you're in town to have a drink or have something to eat or grab an ice cream, you've got about an hour's worth of activity just to kind of wander around and check out and look at some of the spaces, which I think will be, should be exciting, and it's a nice time of night, and I know how it'll be. So Waikuto's the big one. So if anyone's like, oh, what do I do while I'm here? You need to go and check out that site. 6 to 9 each evening, which I think will be really good. And then we've got the Coral Trekker, which is a Sydney Harbour tall ship coming up. Now, that was a little bit touch and go last week, but we're back on. They can get over the bar, and the river's, fine to do. And they're moored at Lady Nelson Wharf for the entire time that they're here. This is one that I think we know could be quite contentious with some members of our community, but to be assured, we have consulted with Biripi again about having this tall ship here, which has been approved and okayed. But the focus for us really, yes, that they're doing some lunch sales during the weekend, daily dinner cruises, which will be fantastic. And then on the bookends of weekends, they've got some daily cruises. They're doing hourly cruises, so you can get on and do that. But we have worked with TAFE here in Port Macquarie to help deliver a general purpose hand course. So there's actually 8 students who have registered to do this maritime course while they're here, and they're using the Coral Trekker as a classroom for the time for all their practical components. So again, we've sort of really tried to focus on that sort of long-term legacy rather than, yes, there might be some negative connotations with having a tour ship here, but look, it's going to look fantastic, and these guys have really worked as hard as they can to make sure it's they're giving back to the community. And you might have caught it was on SBS actually on Monday night, I think it was. There's been a crew of local maritime rescue guys who have made the passage from Sydney to Port Macquarie. So they're due and set to arrive at 7 a.m. on Friday. Swell and bar, allowing. But it's, again, great that these community members have been able to be involved with that. So the Coral Trekker is a good, it looks spectacular when we're down there when you're looking at our Lady Nelson Wharf all the time. So I think that'll be quite good. Now, we had a lot of foreshore activities. You can rip that page out of your program because that isn't happening. That was all set, and unfortunately, the Mineral Coast Maritime Museum Hibbard guys were completely annihilated with the flood. So a lot of their ships and vessels and activities they couldn't do. So we've postponed that, and we'll be looking at being able to do that at another point later in the bicentenary year. But just to let you know, when you look at that on page 11, the visiting vessels aren't able to make it anymore. The regatta, I think, will still be carrying on if they think the river's safe enough, which is And the pilot boathouse is definitely still being involved, which is great. But yes, we've just had to sort of put a hold on everything else. And then you sort of see what we've done with what we've called our satellite event program. But we put an expression of interest out to the community. Again, probably just because people say, well, it's not up to us to dictate how you'd like to commemorate this milestone. Tell us, you come up with an idea, an activity or an event, then please be our guest. And we've actually, supported a number of these. So this is what's listed as at the time of print. If anyone's looking for anything, this QR code, which is on the back, it's on our posters, it'll take you directly to the website, which has all the up-to-date listings of everything that's going on. So I think if anyone was sort of going, oh, they ask you what's about, get them to QR code, and they should all be pretty savvy with that now, to QR code everything that we're doing. But there's some amazing events that are happening. Mrs. York's Garden's got a special open day in the community garden, and then the Hastings Pipe Band are doing pop-up performances in lots of different locations, and the observatory has some great nights that are up there. There's a real mix of both sort of free and a few sort of smaller paid, smaller fee events, but I would encourage anyone, there's something on every day, so there's lots to have a look at and see what might be needed. And then on the first weekend, which is just that other little brochure I gave you, we're doing this open studio weekend. Now, this is, it was one of the COVID recovery projects that came out through council, but so we have rolled it into this, but there's 20 artists participating in an open studio weekend. You can go and visit the artists in their studios, where you can see them work, and there's a lot of, some of them have got quite a few activities that are going on. They're open between 10 and 4, like they've made that commitment to us to do that for both of those days. But some of these artists, have never even opened their studios before to anyone. I mean, there's lots of different activities and events, but we are just super excited because, again, there's some stellar artists that are out there and wanting to be involved. And I think it'll kick off. I'm probably looking at stealing that again for Art Walk later in the year because it'll be a really good one to use. When you sort of, there's a list that's there. We also had planned the opening of the Yohang Villa Yopun Yopun, which is the new Warpoint Riverside Sculptural Trail, which is attached to the Bicentenary. Unfortunately, Roxbury Reserve was again completely annulled due to the floods. So that's been postponed. There was a number of artworks that had already been mostly in place and some that need to be repaired. So people might look at that and go, oh, where can I go and look at that? But at the moment, that Roxbury Reserve is actually closed to the public. So it's it will be here the next time they come and visit, which will be good. And we've also included, on that sort of premise of sort of getting out and discovering our place, we've included there's a lot of these self-guided walking trails. So again, these QR codes go straight through to what is called an Easy Travel app, which I'm not sure if you've used before, but they come up with a route and with the pictures and a described oral commentary on the walks. So I think we've sort of named the major ones that are there. The other one that's not in there at the moment, but it is on the website, is there's a new one for the coastal walk. And I think that's always a really popular one for people who are looking for something to do to get on the coastal walk, but that is on the website now, which is good. And then, I feel like, and then, there's a few more. On page 20, you can see we're launching, what we've launched is these taste trails. Now, again, this is another COVID recovery project that we've done, but and we're doing a soft digital launch for the Bicentenary. But what it is that we've created these 1, 2, 3, 4, I want to say there might be 5 now on the website, curated trails between sort of around different, I guess, tourism operators, restaurants, pubs and beers and things in the region. So someone could come and have a look, go, oh, well, if I want to go and look at brews and burgers, you get online and it actually shows you where they are, when they're open. It's a self-guided tour, but just down the track in the next sort of months, we're sort of trialling it out for the Bicentenary and seeing how it goes. And then we're actually creating a beautiful illustrated map, artist illustrated map that'll have all these trails on it, which people can take away and have a look at. So again, if people sort of asking for, different ideas of what to do while they're in town. These taste trails are open all the way through, and they list the businesses when they're open and when they're closed. Yeah, I'm just going to say that open studio weekend is just the 10th of the 11th, that first weekend of the Bicentennial.
That's this one.
Yes. But taste trails on the website, again, give them that QR code, it'll come up as they scroll down and you can see taste trails and get them to do that. And then, finally, but not least, it's the art exhibition. So just to let you know, so the community art exhibition, we went out far and wide and just sort of said, look, there was a number of canvases that people could come and collect, just to give us their inspiration to the theme, which was, I should know that off by heart, creating a visual response to the very natural, cultural, historic, and popular elements that make positive contributions to our local community. I tell you what, there are some amazing ones. So we've got 68 submissions that have come back. They were assessed by the regional gallery curator, plus a representative from the Bicentenary Working Group and also the Cultural Steering Group. There's 4 prizes, that 3 that have already been awarded. There was sort of best theme, best emerging. I've just written these down, and there was another one. Anyway, they're getting announced on Saturday. It's a great number of finalists, and they receive a wonderful voucher that's been provided from different local arts providers here. But what we're asking for while people come and visit the community art exhibition is to do a people's choice of vote. So Lucy will, when you get to the site at the community art exhibition, which is upstairs on the mezzanine level of the glass house, and it's on one sort of major wall. We also have one other piece from the Bunya Aboriginal Land Council did some workshops with some of the young people, and we've taken that work and put it onto a canvas, which was also going to appear in the Warhope Riverside Sculpture Trail, which now needs to get fixed. But we took that artwork, and that's probably going to be down a little bit down on the meeting room foyer. So you'll orientate yourself, you'll be able to see where the main exhibition is and the other one is. But yes, but we want people to make votes. To vote, there's going to be a voting box, they can just fill that in, and then we can announce that after the Bicentenary finishes. But as I mentioned, I think David Martin has his Port Macquarie 200 exhibition in the gallery. There's also the saltwater, freshwater. There's also randomly this amazing exhibition from the National Art School, which is downstairs in the mezzanine as well. But so there's plenty to see there. We're enticing them in with this community art exhibition, but there's lots to go and have a look at while you're out and about. But I think that's kind of it for the program. I mean, a lot of the historical sites and associations are obviously open during this time and running different events. And if they've got events, we've listed them as satellite events. We've also done a listing of all the sites as well, if people are interested and have said get in touch if they need to. I think the only one that hasn't opened, which we had hoped, was Innisfree. They are printed in here, but due to the flooding, they're unable to open at this time, which is unfortunate but understandable. But I think that's our Bicentenary event. We can all manage to get through the next 10 days.
Yeah, great, that's good, yeah.
Do you have any queries at this point about the event, or where we come from, what we need to do? Yeah, I think it's going to be really good, and and as I said, besides that sort of the maritime focus, everybody else is on board, really excited. I mean, and you will have seen downtown, there's lots of people who are already here on holidays. So it's not going to need much prompting to sort of send them in the right direction.
All we need is good weather.
Yeah. Well, fortunately, I know the weather's so good, but yeah. And look, the last few evenings have been quite warm. So, and it's looking for that first. Yeah, it's looking okay. The weather's. I mean, I know things change. But we carry on, like, because of that screening, especially for Wakudo, like, we can have that screening anyway, even if it is pouring with rain. And all the participating sites are still open and it's undercover. They have it a little bit more pleasant when you're not running between rain showers. But yeah, We don't have to sort of call it
Particularly school holidays, because people will be looking to do something, and like they do with art walk.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the
Yeah, exactly. Just speaking of things to do though, like I have to say, one of my favourite sounding ones and the satellite events is the Mid-North Coast Maritime Museum up on William Street. They're doing a night at the museum, which I think sounds so cool, with markets and a little bit of this and a little bit of that, but yeah. I shouldn't shout out my favourites, but that sounds really
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, that's
thank
good.
you
Yeah,
so much, Lyndon.
that's
There is
great.
no way either one of us sitting here could give you a better overview. Lyndon has been working on this for the last 12,
Yeah, over 12, nearly 18 months, so we're, it's
Yeah.
really good.
huge.
Pivot. We'll do it this way, and then we'll do it this
Yeah.
way, and then we have floods, and we're like, how do we do it? We're going to do it this way. Yeah.
So we will let her go and continue to do a few more things that are very important, and we'll
Okay, good.
Yeah,
we'll
thanks,
get into
Lyndon.
a few
Yeah.
more.
Well, I'm so
Yeah.
appreciative of
Yeah.
time. I know your time to come in and do this, and then also do volunteering. We're just, everyone's very stretched at the moment, but very, very thankful. Thank you. I'll see you out
All
there.
right. Thanks, Lyndon.
All right, I'll catch you soon.
Yeah, I'll be up and see you shortly. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, and that will go on
the first
through
night of
each
it.
night.
Yeah. And is it amongst here that we would see anything that was specifically Indigenous, cultural?
Yeah, and I was going to say, it is in there. Sea Acres are doing quite a lot, doing some guided tours and things like that. We do have some, like a public, I say we should, but if it rains tomorrow, it may not happen. We've had an Indigenous, the Biripi have done this installation of buckets that'll be at the glass house. So saltwater, freshwater is one of the ones that are in there too.
There's a film screening at CSU.
Yes, we've helped support the filming of Blackman's Point Massacre, which is a short film about the story of what happened at that location. And it's been, you can get tickets for free through Eventbrite at that point, and there's a panel discussion that'll follow that with both the filmmaker and with some of the relatives of those who have been interviewed in that too.
Stories of Dreaming, that potentially sounds.
Yeah, up in, is that with the observatory?
Yep.
Yep, the observatory that's up there. So, look, we've definitely, and we look, when there is that beautiful story that we've done into language as well, which is with that art that's up there. It's just, yeah. All right, I'm going to back off.
Thank you.
Back off.
Back off.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah.
Lucy?
Yeah, so everyone, hi, I'm Lucy, and do you know what, Lyndon pretty much covered everything that you needed to know about the community art exhibition, so I'm going to start with that, and just the role of volunteers that will be looking after the community art exhibition. There's two shifts, there's the day shift and there's the evening shift for the volunteers. When you arrive at the glass house, go straight to the customer service desk, sign in there, and then head up onto the mezzanine level where the exhibition is. There'll be a table set up for you there with all the information on it, and there'll be a container underneath that has just more brochures. It has a torch, it has some just different things in there, and so if you have any issues or any concerns or you have any queries at all from anyone or any members of the public, you can just send them down to customer service and they will be able to help you out with those queries and those whatever. What else?
I'm imagining with People's Choice will be needing clean.
Yes, so that will all be in your containers. So there'll be the People's Choice pens plus the fill out form, People's Choice form and everything that they'll be able to just do themselves and pop into the box. So I'm just trying to think off the top of my head what else is in that container. But everything you need is basically there. So you walk in to the glass house, customer service, sign in, head up. Also there'll be in the container a COVID safe sign in sheet. So it just asks those questions of have you been overseas in the last, or have you returned from overseas in the last 2 tweaks. Do you have any flu-like symptoms, any coughs, any colds, anything like that? And if you answer yes to any of those, or, you know, it comes upon you when you leave home to get to the glass house, then just give me a call. On the lanyard, your volunteer lanyard, my phone number will be on there. And so you can just give me a call. I'll be over at the Wakuta site at the old courthouse, and, you know, we've got council staff over there as well that can help. So there's plenty of people around if you need anything, or if you perhaps feel a little unwell during your volunteer shift and you've got to go, just let us know, and we'll be able to assist you, in any way that you need. I think that's pretty much it, and and I guess you will, be talking about the. Go ahead. Yeah.
Are we wearing masks?
Yes, masks will be provided. Gloves will be provided in that kit, that container kit that's under the table for you. We've pretty much hopefully thought of everything, but if you get there and there's something that you go, oh no, we really need this, just let us know and we'll be able to,
you don't
get
have
it
to
for
wear
you.
them, they're there for those who want to.
Yeah.
It's your choice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Will all visitors be having to QR code entry, and will that happen downstairs?
Correct, yes. So on entry to the building, the customer service makes sure that everybody signs in with the QR code here. So which you will do as well, and then you'll head up to the exhibition. The additional sign-in sheet is a record for us, for you. Yeah.
So just for volunteers,
Yeah,
you don't
just
need
for
to
volunteers.
get everyone who walks
No,
through the exhibition.
no,
to go.
yeah. I think that's.
So I think in the box will be this lanyard that Lucy has mentioned with some phone numbers on it. So if you're kind of like, you've got your T-shirt, but your lanyard will be in the box. Otherwise, we have to make lots of them. So yeah, it's there.
Yeah.
Sonia, is there anything we forgot on that bit? Just on that bit? No, you can move on to the next.
Okay, and okay. So then the second program is the Wakuta Nightly program, and again with that one, volunteers come down to the courthouse grounds, the historical courthouse grounds. Find me. I will be in a bright pink covert vest, so will the other council staff members as well. So we'll look like flamingos. You will not miss us. Find us, find me, come over, and then I'll take you down to the information marquee, which will be set up with a table. And again, we have a full container kit with all those items in that I just mentioned, identical to the community art exhibition, where people will be able to get the lanyard, put on the vest, sign in on the sign-in sheet, and I will brief you in at the Wakuta site, show you where everything is, the toilets, the emergency evacuation area, bins, just things like that, so that you will be able to direct people and members of the public to those spots as well. So pretty much the full briefing will be when you turn up for your shift on site. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. So I think that's it. Yeah.
So so essentially there's volunteers at the Wakuta site are COVID marshals. So you'll just be helping us make sure that we've got like the right amount of people in the area and that everyone's being safe, and just as extra hands and bodies and bits and pieces.
Yeah, that's right. And also we ask if all volunteers would, on the Wakuta site, check in with council staff, with one of us face to face, just to, or you can phone us, just to let us know. Sorry, I got this wrong. Let me start again. At the Wakuta site, come in and check in with us half an hour before your shift starts, if that's okay. Yeah, just so that we know that you're there, and that it gives us time to, if anything sort of comes up. Or we have to make any adjustments, I don't know whether it could be anything. It's just good to have you there, and it's not a rush before people start to come into the site to view the filming. Yeah. So half an hour early, if everyone's okay with that. Yeah?
Lucy,
Yeah.
you're talking about the Wakuda site.
Yes.
Where is that? That's not in the old courthouse. It's somewhere else, is it?
Yes, it's in the historical courthouse grounds. The
Oh,
old,
it's in the grounds.
yeah. So Wakuda is the event, the filming onto the projection onto the old courthouse. Yeah, that's Wakuda. We're in the grounds of the historic courthouse. Yes.
So it's on the wall that if you're standing looking at the courthouse, the Greek restaurant and the glass house is behind you, and it's projected on that wall. So it might be a bit distracting for people driving down Clarence Street. They're like, oh, what is that?
Yeah.
And we're actually taking a few of the car spots there in front of the courthouse so that if we do have a big crowd, everyone's not having to be jammed into that grass area. We can spill out onto those car parks and it's nice and safe for everyone as well. And no volunteers need to do any traffic management. You guys will be crowd management, not traffic management. So that's fine for you guys. All right, Lucy, well, are you going to hang around?
Yeah, definitely.
Yep, okay,
Yeah.
so Sonia and I might start
Yeah.
onto our little bit of the chat.
Just get the figure out how to do this. I'm a little bit special in these things. So figure out how to get that down. Oh, there we go. That's better.
Sonia's done a beautiful PowerPoint presentation for our section, which is great. It also will be quite helpful for those people who are going to look at this as a recording.
So firstly, thank you everyone again for volunteering. There's also the Sunrise Rotary Club members who will be volunteering as well, but they were a little bit last minute sort of organised, so we couldn't expect them to all come today, but they get to watch us all on the screen instead. So first question, I think, which Lucy covered, which was what do I need? What do I do if I can't make my shift? Who do I call? If you're a Sunrise Rotary Club member, you'll need to call Diane, who's your representative. All other volunteers, please call myself or Lucy, and the numbers will be on the lanyards as well. So also please be aware that you might be asked to cover in other areas. So let's just say, for example, if a volunteer becomes unwell, we might ask, obviously it's not mandatory if you can't do it, but if you could cover in other areas, so just so that you're aware. And yeah. So also public amenities. Sorry, we'll try and get through this as quickly as possible. I know it's boring housekeeping. So there's some water refill stations and also toilets as well. You're probably all local and are quite familiar with where they are. But yeah, Town Green Chop and Chill, the Glass House, mezzanine level. I'm not sure whether, I think the downstairs toilets will be open for the event.
Yeah, they should be.
And also Short Street adjacent to the car park there. Probably skipping my little. Okay, so the weather. Obviously, you've got your long sleeve t-shirts. If you're cold in the glass house, which I can guarantee you will be, bring your jumpers and everything along. Check for the weather condition on the day. If it's raining, obviously bring your raincoats and whatever you need. There is some sheltered areas, but everyone will huddle to them naturally, so just do your best, I guess. Also, yeah, anything that might blow away in adverse weather, make sure you get it nice and secure. Keep your phones and everything protected from people. Yeah, and if weather becomes really bad, we will make an announcement on the megaphone and let everyone know to head off. All right, traffic management. This is to me. So some road closures will be in effect on the day. The program, obviously, like Lucy said, there's no need to direct traffic or do anything like that. And our volunteers are just COVID marshals on the street, so that's all that's needed. So some terminology during your shift. You might hear the term bump in, which means
basically setting up a location or your workspace, or bump out, which you can guess that means packing up an area, packing down for the day. So event staff will bump in and bump out every day, and obviously go to Lucy just so that they feel comfortable in their role and what they're doing. Torches will be available for the nighttime shifts. Police are first point of contact if there's a missing person or a lost child. Obviously, I guess it's common sense sometimes. And then lost property, please take it to one of us or the glass house if you're in the glass house as well.
Will there be police just sort of around the area? They won't.
Yeah.
Well,
they're aware.
They're aware of the event, but they may or may not be out every night. So if you do have a report of an incident, and I'll go into this a little bit more, some suspicious behaviour or anything at all that you think is risky, you can, if you have time, you can raise it with Lucy or another staff member. Or if it's like, I need to move on this now, feel free to call the police station. And on your lanyards is the direct line for the Port Macquarie police station. You don't have to go through 000, unless, of course, it's someone's having a heart attack. And so I guess, use your common sense. Okay, do I just want a policeman to walk down to the courthouse or to the glass house, which is, 50 metres, or do I need an ambulance and then call 000? They might be wandering around, but we've met with them and they're not too worried in terms of our site setup and the fact that we've got so many COVID marshals and things. They're like, yeah, we'll just let you do your thing, so they're not too worried about it. They'll be around. I don't think they predict there'll be too much trouble. So touching on first aid, there will be a couple of first aid kits that are for volunteers to use, or if a public member comes to you and says, oh gosh, I've cut my finger open, like those Band-Aids and Stingos and basic first aid kits. But anything major, we won't be able to deal with those little first aid kits. So it'll be either asking them to take themselves to a doctor or the hospital, or if it's obviously quite bad, just call 000 with their permission. It's not like we've got a St John's ambulance kind of station. Often when you go to events, they're there. Because this is going for so long, for 10 days, we couldn't obviously, get St John's to be sitting there for 10 days straight every night. So hopefully there's nothing that needs to happen. If you do find any sharps, any needles or anything that need dealing with, obviously we've got a big crowd, so we don't want to just leave it alone. The staff are trained to dispose of those. So come and see Lucy or one of the other staff members and you can let us deal with that. You guys don't have to deal with that. Crowd management, obviously Lucy will brief you in terms of how to count the numbers in and manage the crowd sites on the night. So we won't go into that too much now because you'll get a bit more of an idea once you're there and you can see the site.
Yeah, exits and entry points for people and the flow of people.
But if there's an issue in terms of a bomb threat or a fire, or we need to evacuate for some reason, sorry, I'm jumping all over the place here, just catch it up. Then the emergency kind of spots that we'll go down is down to Town Green. So we might ask you to help us corral everyone and move everyone down to Town Green. Obviously, if that's where the risk is, then we'll move to the Glasshouse forecourt. But it'll probably be towards Town Green that we'll get everyone to move down to.
Mm-hmm. The Glasshouse, as Diane would know, is an odd building. So with fire evacuations there, when you're in the gallery, you'll know because it is ridiculously loud. It'll start with the whooping and then it'll tell you to evacuate. The first one will tell you to stand by. The second one will be evacuate. So you just need to, the other staff members will let you know what to do, but just use the fire evacuation doors because the front doors downstairs will actually suction closed, and that's to preserve the gallery. So just literally get yourself out because the staff members there will take care of everything else.
Yeah. Communication, I think is up next. Yep. So there will be a portable megaphone on the site at Wakuda. Communication in the glasshouse is pretty much just pop down and see customer service if you need anything. And if, as we mentioned before, you guys need to leave mid-shift for any reason, if you're at the glasshouse, maybe call Sonia so that she knows. I mean, it's not imperative. We probably wouldn't try and replace you if you're kind of midway through your shift. We would just say, okay, well, we won't have someone there. That's fine. And if you're at Waikuta, if you could let Lucy know. That community exhibition shift, you'll be sitting down. There's a seat provided. It could potentially be quite quiet, so feel free to bring a book. I think we do have you paired up with another person, so there'll be someone interesting to talk to, hopefully. But feel free to bring a book and entertain yourself while you're not chatting to others that come along.
You can take it in terms of looking at the other exhibitions as well, go for a wander down.
And I think that there will be other volunteers on who will be signing people in as well who are there on a regular basis. So, all right, next slide now that I got to it. So this is what Lucy touched on before. I should have done this in order, I think. So with just obviously be familiar with the COVID safety plans in place, which Lucy will go over, and they have their own COVID safety plans in place at the glasshouse, so you'll be fine with that. When you check in for a shift, obviously, like Lucy said, you'll be asked if you're feeling well, have you been to any hotspots. Also, if you're comfortable, QR code in as you go into a venue, or if they have a sign-in sheet, use that. I think we touched on just first and foremost, take care of yourself and make sure that you're happy and healthy. And lastly, oh my God, we zoomed through that.
Yeah.
Make sure you grab your t-shirt. Please let me know if they don't fit you. We can organise that. That's easy. If any of you still need to sign off to say that you've read the volunteer handbook, they're just there if you wanted to grab one or flick through it. And I've got a physical sign sheet if you didn't want to do the one online, and that's fine. As Lucy said, you'll receive a lanyard, which will have the contact numbers or a vest as well. Please do call me if first and foremost, because Lucy will more than likely be on site and she's always way more busy than me. So please call me or message me at any time or email me, whatever you prefer to do. Bring with you a water bottle, your snacks, your phone, your raincoat, etc. And
How do we count those while we're volunteering? Are they over your shoulders?
so, it's up to you. So if you'd like, you can check in with the glasshouse. They have cabinets locked behind customer service, so you can leave them there with them. Or there is a desk downstairs and upstairs where you can pop your gear, but it's just wherever you can keep your phone on you, keep your laptop on you. Yeah, it's pretty good. I work at the glasshouse as well, so I've never had any volunteers ever had anything stolen or missing or anything like that, so it's quite safe.
And it won't be too bad. Those based at the glasshouse, you'll have a kind of a desk and a chair, and you'll easily have your bag with you. It's more for those at the Waikuta site. Essentially, you kind of want to bring something with you with pockets, so you can put maybe your phone and your car keys kind of with you, and then have your water bottle or have things in a backpack, because it might be a bit awkward if you've got a handbag. And I'm not sure, I don't think there's a secure site at the courthouse for leaving bags and stuff.
No, not that I'm aware of. We've just got the under the table, which isn't secure, but
So there'll be an info desk there so that you can leave your bag there, but it's not 100% secure.
I've also got a printed off roster if you wanted to have a look just before you leave, just to make sure that you're definitely happy with where we've rostered you, because obviously I came in halfway and Jenny had already done a lot of the work. So just make sure that you're happy with that, and if not, then just raise it with me and we can swap you around or whatever you'd like to do.
And just one more thing. With the Glasshouse, the Community Art Exhibition, for the evening shift, your time says 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. I just have a note here that at 5:45 p.m, if you wait just outside of the glasshouse on the stairs there for the duty manager to open the building and to let you in. So if you arrive there earlier than 5:45, the building will be probably in darkness and closed, but the duty manager will be arriving to open up the building and let you in for the exhibition, and that duty manager will be there for the duration of the evening shift. So again, anything you need, but the duty manager will be actually managing the ground floor of the glass house and be moving around and coming up and seeing if you're okay and everything like that over the 10 days.
Great.
Yep.
Any questions?
Something that's going through my mind. People in wheelchairs, have you given any thought about going in the lift, going up to the community art?
Yep. So they just hop into the front of house lift and just come up to level 2, and and then they're there. Yeah. So so the glasshouse has complete access for people in wheelchairs. So that's easy, no problem. Yeah. And you don't have to worry, about that. The duty you'll be upstairs, and the customer service during the day shift, they will they'll send people up and down and direct them, and then in the evening the duty manager will do the same thing. So they'll make sure they get up and down okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Have we bored you enough?
I can see you yawn over there. All right, well, we might stop the recording, and then if anyone wants to chat with Sonia about confirming their shifts or swapping T-shirts and bits and pieces, then we can do that, and grab a program on your way out and chat to us, either of us, if you